So why even specify? Just giving the example makes them look like they're protecting Daddy, and Daddy resides in Austin, Texas.
The Big 12, looking at a rule, the way I read this, it's very odd. The way I read this is you can do this with your fans. So if you're Oklahoma and you score a touchdown and you run to the end zone and you throw an upside down horns, that's fine. But if you taunt a player with it, that is an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. That's the way I read the proposed rule that the conference is trying to put into their rule book at their media days.
This is way over officious, because do you have something then for every team? Some gesture for each team that they don't like that's unsportsmanlike? Or this is a special rule because Texas has something?
Well, a lot of people are immediately saying they're protecting their cash cow in Texas.
Well, they are.
In the Big 12. And Texas isn't even the best football program. Not even close. It's Oklahoma.
But if you can do it to your fan base, is that really protecting Texas?
But this is where they just shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah.
There's a rule in place against taunting.
Taunting, right.
If I went up and gave Hutton the middle finger after scoring a touchdown on him, I'd get a penalty. If I waved to Hutton on my way into the end zone when he's trailing behind, I'm going to get a penalty. Mm-hmm. So why even specify? Just giving the example makes them look like they're protecting Daddy, and Daddy resides in Austin, Texas. So why even say that? It's the same taunting rule. I can't give a upside down hook 'em horns after I tackle you and you're on the ground standing over you, just like I couldn't wave at you if I did that. I don't understand the reason to even say it, because there's already taunting rules in place. Now, we can debate the merits of taunting rules. Does it really affect the game if I wave at someone when I'm going into the corner of the end zone and they're not going to catch me? Should that be a 15-yard penalty? Whatever. That's been discussed backwards and forwards. But with this, just don't say anything about the hook 'em horns. It's any hand signal that you direct immediately at a player. Because you can still go and score a touchdown, look up to your cheering section and do that. But it's also weird because they're talking about celebrating with your own fans, or you can do it on the sideline. So if I do it to the Texas section, am I going to get flagged? Is that taunting? If I turn to the Texas band and start doing it? It's just, I hate when we treat things like it's more important than it is. We are treating the hook 'em horns or a downward hook 'em horns like it's a Heil Hitler sign to Texas fans. It's not. The Pittsburgh Steelers fans treat a terrible towel like it's a religious artifact. It isn't. It's a towel. It's a stupid hand signal that you do with your fans. It's equally stupid if I walk up to a Texas fan and go, hey, we won last year, we won. And you're going to punch me because it's just all so stupid. So why even talk about it? Because you're giving more credence to something that is stupid. I'd love for a Texas fan to chime in on Twitter or somewhere else and explain to us the holy significance of putting two fingers in the air and saying hook 'em. There's not one.
And now I would think kids on other teams, smart-ass kids on other teams, are going to try to find the places they can do it. Oh, I can do it to my fan base? Well, now I'm going to do it. I didn't even think about it before, but now that I know that it bothers you, I'm going to find situations where I can do it to egg you on.
The reason they bring up the downward horns is because they were directly asked about it at their media days. And the commissioner just said, he's like, we're going to treat it like a touchdown celebration. If you celebrate with your teammates, that's one thing. If you celebrate and taunt the opponent, that's a penalty.
That's a reasonable answer.
And he used the key word, probably a penalty, because they're leaving that up to
the referees and
the officials to determine the intent, which, again, goes back to the taunting that Chad was saying. They're already trying to determine the intent of taunting. And they're going to throw the flag if they feel like the player or coach or anyone involved is doing that. There would be the penalty involved. And they're using that as the example of a celebration that would be too far if you did that in the face of an opponent.
I just hate that it had to be a specific example brought up with that, because I think you just...
Is it only with Texas? What if you did that to a random player in the conference? And if two players did it to each other into a camera at Texas, is that a penalty? Like, we can take this to a completely different layer.
They have an allowance for like an orchestrated celebration with your teammates. Like if you all get in a circle and do the downward hook 'em horn, is that a penalty, or is it just a penalty if I'm celebrating individually right when I score and no one's around me and I'm looking to the crowd or looking at the cameras and doing it? It's a rule that's always been legislated by an official sees something, he says something. And
Right.
he says something by throwing a flag. So if you see something egregious, you're going to throw the flag. Rashawn Golden at Tennessee got flagged because he threw 2 middle fingers in the air after a pick six to the entire Alabama crowd. And that should have been a penalty. And it was. When the official sees it, they're going to flag something like that. I just don't think there should be any discussion from the Big 12 about individual teams' hand signals. I'd say the same if Texas Tech was playing and they do the guns up, which looks like a bang bang, to their crowd. If you're doing guns down to them, I mean, is that
Holster your weapons.
Holster your weapons. We're all going to get together and holster our weapons. It's you're giving something more credence than it deserves. I think it's funny when someone does the gator chomp in the swamp after they do something. You know, is that automatically going to be a penalty? If I turn to the guy I just sacked and I do it in his face, it's going to be a penalty anyways. We've already decided that's a penalty. But if you want to celebrate with a gator chomp when you score in the swamp at Florida, have at it. I'm all for it. If you want to mock like you're leading the band in Rocky Top when you're beating the crap out of Tennessee to the band, go ahead. Have at it. It's just ridiculous that we even have to make a rule on this.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified every time Outkick 360 goes live. We are live weekdays, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern, right here across the Outkick network. And while you're at it, like this video and let us know what you think in the comments below.